Okay, welcome back, Double J weekend preview slash midseason awards. We will have the Double J awards. We did this last year. Very fun time. Do not take these seriously. Some of them are jokes. Most of them are jokes. But we are going to get into our Premier League team of the season so far as well. Our midway points team of the season signings of the summer. Worst signings of the summer, the whole of it. We're also going to run through the FA Cup games that are happening this weekend to kick off the show. It is not going to be in depth. It is not going to be predictions. We are literally going to read them out, most likely. And then to end the show, Elijah Quivey talking all things Manchester United, what he's up to, Jaden Sancho, discussions on that. So we will get into everything. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, welcome back, Double J weekend preview. This weekend is FA Cup weekend, so I am going to quickly run through these games to kick off the show. There is a game going on right now as we speak. Crystal Palace at Everton. As I look over, it is 0-0 in the 39th minute. Both of these teams have started their full teams, which me and Jace were talking about before the episode, is not surprising because I think that's what the Premier League was trying to do, Jace, with this winter break, was ensure that FA Cup games aren't just washed with B teams.
I agree. I think they want as many full teams playing in the FA Cup as early as possible
Yeah, because a couple of years ago
for revenue.
it had gotten rough as far as like just the teams went. It was like the 11s, I should say, for Premier League teams were essentially from top to bottom just second teams. They weren't even starters. So it's good to
Yeah,
see
even the
that.
lower teams were rotating, so they're trying to do something different.
Yeah, it's good to see that the league and the FA are starting to take the FA Cup into account when we get into scheduling and stuff like that. So today, Palace at Everton, it is 0-0 right now. It's a great Premier League game. Tomorrow, three games. Brentford at home to Wolves in the early kick, Fulham at home to Rotherham, and Tottenham at home to Burnley. So two Premier League games there. And then Fulham at home to Rotherham is always interesting. Saturday has a full slate. Bear with me. This is going to take a minute. Uh, a lot of early kicks. Wimbledon at it or at home to Ipswich in the early game. Coventry at home to Oxford United. Maidstone at home to Stevenage. Millwall at home to Leicester, and the big one on Saturday, in my opinion, other than oh no, you guys play on Sunday. Sunderland at home to Newcastle in a derby that is being rejuvenated. I think Newcastle could have some troubles at the Stadium of Light, Jace.
Completely agree. They absolutely hate each other, especially Sunderland hates them because of what's happened to Newcastle with the Saudi investments, Champions League, all of that when they were pretty much equivalent. After the Alan Shearer years, they were pretty much equivalent for a decade and a half before Sunderland took a deep dive all the way down to League One, win League One. Now they're back up in the championship and doing well.
I thought they had transferred to France there for a second. That would have been.
Yeah. Sorry for the brief League On.
It's always good to get a league on out there. You
Yeah.
know, you have to. The midday kicks, or midday, I should say, three over in UK, 9 a.m. here in the States. Blackburn at home to Cambridge. Gillingham are at home to Sheffield United. These games always get me going. Lower league teams at home to Premier League teams are always hype.
I think the lower league team, my real quick tangent on the FA Cup, it's way better in the Carabao Cup when it just goes straight to penalties instead of a replay. I would love for either the Premier League teams always having to play away to the teams in the league below them. You still do the random draw if it's Premier League versus Premier League, or you go straight to penalties and you pay out the lower league team what they would have gotten from the replay if they don't advance.
Which to Premier League teams is like tossing a quarter to
Yeah,
someone.
and I'm
Like,
not saying that the team has like if Arsenal are playing, I don't know, Port Vale. I'm not saying Arsenal have to pay it, but like the EFL and the Premier League have plenty of cash around. Like they should pay these guys and scrap the replays, in my opinion.
I completely agree on everything Jace just said. I love seeing big teams go to a ground that looks like on another day is where cows eat. Like
Right,
it,
like the pitch is shit. It's small. The fans are right up on it, like a couple meters off the field. Like it's just the best. I personally love it when Arsenal draw an away game against a lower league side. It's just fun. It's like some of their biggest games of the season. So
And I
no one's fair.
agree. I agree. I see the payout perspective as far as people going, well, going to Chelsea or going to Old Trafford is the biggest day in those guys' lives. So I get the draw or whatever, and having some of those home games in a draw. But I think everyone would agree that the small teams being at home versus the big boys is always fun. Okay, moving on. Hull are at home to Birmingham. Newport are at home to Eastleigh. I have heard of like just about every single team in the league, and I'm talking the FA, the whole from League Two all the way up, even some of the guys in below that. I've never heard of Eastleigh. I've never heard of them. Um, they are currently in, let's see, what they're in the National League, so they've done this the hard way, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah, they've played 2 rounds of qualification already.
that is nuts.
Yeah,
All right, I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna dive into
mid
this.
table in the National League too.
Yeah, I'm diving into this. I'm gonna find out who they've been in the National League for forever too. Credit to these guys. They are currently 11th in the National League and they are about to play in an FA Cup tie. That is awesome. That's just awesome. Um, Norwich are at home to Bristol Rovers, Plymouth at home to Sutton United, QPR at home to Bournemouth, Southampton at home to Walsall, Stoke at home to Brighton. Can you do it in a cold and rainy day in Stoke? Watford at home to Chesterfield, Chelsea at home to Preston. I swear Chelsea get home draws in the FA Cup like no other against bad teams. I feel like always the first draw is Chelsea smacking somebody at home. I could be wrong about that. Middlesbrough are at home to Aston Villa, Sheffield Wednesday at home to Cardiff, and Swansea at home to Morecambe in the late kick. Okay, Sunday. Luton are at home to Bolton, City at home to Huddersfield, Forest at home to Blackpool, Peterborough at home to Leeds, Shrewsbury at home to Wrexham. That could be get a lot of eyes. Obviously, Wrexham just get a ton of eyes these days. Um, West Brom at home to Aldershot Town, West Ham at home to Bristol, and the big one, Arsenal at home to Liverpool. The FA Cup are clearly rigging this. No, anyone that believes this is an actual draw, do not. And I'm here for it at this point if this is what you're going to do. Like this schedule is fun, and having an Arsenal Liverpool game is fun.
Yeah, amazing how Arsenal have drawn City and Liverpool in the last. I think City last year might have been the 4th round, but same thing with this one, 3rd round against Liverpool. Um, yeah, it's at the Emirates. Should win depending on the teams, but I'm all for experimentation because something's got to change in the league, and I would. This is the game to try something new and see how it works.
Yeah, you did say, I think last episode, what do you have to lose? Well, the FA Cup is what you have to lose. But at the same time, is that the end all and be all of if you fix your problems with what you do, I think you'd take that in a heartbeat if you lose the game like 2-1 or something like that, but it looks 10 times better. Um, okay. And then Monday, Wigan are at home to Manchester United. And that I am not. I will be live streaming that. We're going to be live streaming that on our YouTube channel. I need to start plugging the YouTube a little bit more. I will be live streaming that game next Monday. So for those that like entertainment, for those that like Dylan losing his mind, it's even worse when the game is going on. So tune into that. We're going to post it on our Twitter, post it on my Instagram, everything. So please tune in. It will be something. All right. I think that's it. Yeah, because after that Tuesday, we go into the league, the Carabao Cup semifinals. So those are the FA Cup games. Let's get into our mid-season awards slash, I'm going to call them the Double J Awards because we did them as the Double J Awards last year. The Double J Awards Part 2, equivalent to the Dundies in The Office. Please don't take these as seriously as you really need to. A lot of stuff is going to change by the time we do end of season awards. These are end of year awards. Pump the brakes. Okay. Our first award, Jace, is the biased manager of the year. Jace's current holder, his 2022 winner, was Eddie Howe. My 2022 winner was Marco Silva. I also said Eric Ten Hag. We'll just forget that ever happened. Jace, your new winner.
It's 09. It's not even close.
Yeah, I tried. I
Boys is the only
tried.
one that even has a shout, but I still don't think it's that close.
It's unanimous. The 2023 manager of the year, we don't even have to put the bias on it this time, is Unai Emery, Mr. Good Evening. When we started this podcast, also, we did the good evening thing before he'd even come back to the Premier League. and now he's back, so we're fully bought in. We have to be.
Yeah, he was still at Villarreal.
Yep. Yep. He beat United in the Europa League final. All right. The player of the year, our current holder. We both said Erling Haaland last year. I corrected mine to be different and gave it to Kevin De Bruyne. Jace, who is your winner this year?
Mo Salah. I think
Ooh.
he's been incredible. He's got the goals and assists to back it up. I want to get his assist number exactly right. Let me pull it up here real quick.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
He has 8 assists, which now leads the league. It took forever for someone to pass Pedro Neto, but it finally happened. Um, and then he's got 14 goals to go along with it, tied with Erling at top of the league. So
Yeah, that's a pretty good shout. I've got to give it to Erling Haaland. I know he's been out the past couple of that's what month now, month and a half. I think we're getting to a point where people are like forgetting how good he is. I'm looking at like team of the seasons and all this stuff, and Haaland is nowhere near it. Stop, stop that, because he will
it's
come
not that
back
he's
and be.
bad. It's just trying to do something different. Like everyone knows what he does. Everyone knows at the end of the year, Holland's going to be the striker in the team of the season. Holland's probably going to win PFA Player of the Year if it's not Mo Salah. Like, I mean, I think it's just trying to be different. I don't have Holland in my current team right now, but like that's not because he doesn't deserve to be there. It's just because I want to do
Spice
something
it up.
different than beat the same horse every time. It's Holland. He's incredible. Everyone knows it.
I do have him in mind as a sneak preview because I'm too scared because of that comment he made where United fans call him shit. And that just scared the crap out of me. So
Fair
we're just
enough.
gonna I gotta pander. I gotta pander a little bit to him. All right. Moving along. Our surprise team of the year, Jace. I have a couple here.
I have three: Villa, West Ham, and Bournemouth.
I completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. I didn't have I have West Ham, Fulham, Wolves, and I gave it to Spurs too because I had them predicted in ninth. I had this Ange project to not work, yada yada, and they've proven me wrong. They've surprised me. All four of those teams have surprised me this year. I thought Fulham and Wolves were going to be in a relegation battle at the beginning of this year. They slapped me in my face. West Ham as well slapped me in my face quickly and said, "Listen here, this is how we're going to be this year." They've all surprised me. So credit to every team just mentioned. Bournemouth gets a should be on my list as well
Especially with
because
the turnaround for Bournemouth is the most surprising thing for me. We both had Iriola, I mean, dead in the water,
mhm.
and he turned it around.
Yep, he did. Credit to him. We're not going to be right on everything, people. Okay, we're actually going to be wrong
Facts.
on. We're
And
going
we'll
to be.
tell you when we're wrong too. We're not just gonna change our takes and pretend like we were right the whole time.
I will not die on a hill of Bournemouth. I'm not dying on that hill. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not. Okay. Disappointing team of the year, Jace.
Mine's Burnley. The expectations were very high coming up, and they have been better as of late, but it hasn't really shown up in the table. They're still second bottom. And again, it's been a little bit better as of late, but a lot of people had them staying up fairly easily. And if they do stay up, it's going to be anything but easy.
Yeah, it will be a minor miracle, I think, at this point with where they're at. I've gone with a little bit more obvious of a selection, Chelsea. I think people thought that this was going to improve at least a little bit from a table perspective to where it's at now. Nothing's changed. A lot of money's been spent, and they're still where they're at. With that being said, it's looked a little bit better the last 3 weeks. But again, take it with a grain of salt when it comes to this team. Burnley are in mine as well. And then I've gone with Forest because I thought this season specifically they were going to be able to kick on with Steve Cooper. Wrong. Steve Cooper is gone. So that was just incorrect. Okay. Jace, your signings of the season. Get into
Yeah,
some
I've got
transfers.
multiple. Yeah, no particular order here. There have been plenty more than this too. I've got Declan Rice, Ross Barkley, James Ward-Prowse, Mohamed Kudus, Raul Jimenez, and Cole Palmer.
Nice. Okay. I
I'll
agree with every single
throw
one.
in Mickey Van de Ven in there too, actually.
I agree with that one too. I agree with every single one Jace just said. They would be on my list. Some of them are on my list. My signings of the season so far that I've seen: Musa Diaby for Villa, James Madison for Spurs, Mohamed Kudus as well. I've thrown Malo Gusto in there now.
I like
I,
it.
I've thrown Malo Gusto in there because we all knew Reece James had injury problems. We all knew he's not consistent enough in the side, and they needed cover for a long time. They go get a guy who is incredibly competent. And I think we both said last week that you now have an opportunity to sell Reece James with a very big tag onto him because you have the trust in Malo Gusto. Um, I've also gone with Declan Rice. I have an asterisk next to this one because Declan Rice is very obvious. They spent the money. He's like everyone knew what he was. He's very good. He has lived up to it. That's the thing. Living up to that price tag, very few people do. And Declan Rice has so far. And then my last one is as well, Raul Jimenez. Yeah. Shocked both of us.
Yeah, when I was looking these up, just looking at articles to make sure I didn't forget any obvious people. And you know who the two worst signings in pretty much every article were?
Who?
Havertz and Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
That's
neither have
crazy.
been world beaters by any means, but you can find plenty of transfers worse than those two.
Yeah, you can with ease. Um, Speaking of worst signings of the season, Jace.
I think all of these guys are going to turn out to be good to great, but so far they have not been. So I've got Caicedo, 115 million pounds, hasn't lived up to it. Tonali came in, had a few good performances, had a few bad ones, then got suspended 8 months for gambling. Tough. Then Vardiol. We both think he's being played out of position at left back. If you're going to play a center back at left back, it has to be Ake. And I think he'll turn out great. I mean, he was so good for Leipzig, but so far he hasn't lived up to, I believe, the second biggest fee for a defender ever.
And it doesn't really get talked about. I think that's why we kind of talk about it, is because no one's really talking about the fact that that's the amount of money spent, and that's what's been.
And they're winning. Like it's not like it's a huge deal, but like I mean, I expected him to come in and be a rock next to Diaz, and he just hasn't.
No.
Not that he's gotten the chance to do it, really.
And I want to say before I say mine as well, I don't think there's been that many egregiously bad signings from this past summer. It hasn't been, there's been some injuries that have caused people to say, oh, he hasn't played and yada, yada. I think that's different than actually being a bad signing. That's just
Yeah,
not playing.
like it's not Mount and Lavia's fault, and there's other guys too that they've been injured for pretty much the entire 6 months they've been at their new clubs.
Exactly. My worst signings of the season. Listen, the easy answer here is Andre Onana. I always get him and Amadou confused. Andre Onana. Um, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's been relatively fine for the season. Are there some saves he could make? Is there places he could be better? Yes. Champions League was atrocious. But I don't have vast concerns towards the future of Andre Onana. I don't think it's going to be as bad as people make it out to be. I've also gone with Tonali, and then I've gone with two that haven't been mentioned yet. Matthias Nunes at City is getting the Calvin Phillips treatment.
Great shout.
I mean, I think he probably is just the worst signing because I don't know if Pep wanted him. I don't know if that's the type of midfielder Pep wanted that badly, and has just kind of gone under the radar. And that happens with City signings. So we talk about Vardiol's gone under the radar like crazy. And then the final one is Mahmoud Dahoud for Brighton. I thought he was going to come in there and set the world alight. I thought he was going to help and stabilize that midfield since Basuma's left, and it really hasn't happened. De Zerbi does not trust him.
Milner's been the better free transfer
Yes, he has
between
been.
the two of them.
He absolutely has been. Dahoud's right now is out of not playing. So, and he's healthy. And it seems like that didn't go as everyone was expecting when they signed him on a free, people were like, wow, huh, that's crazy that Brighton just got Mahmoud Dahoud and it really hadn't worked out. Okay. Jace, your Mike Dean of the year.
Standard or roughing. I
Yeah.
don't want to get into it on a game when we don't have to, because I'm sure we'll be talking about it plenty of more times throughout the season, but it's just been absolutely atrocious this year across the board.
Yeah. Our previous winners, Jace had US soccer last year. I got to give that a shout because that was the World Cup time. And right as the Gio Reyna, Greg Berhalter stuff was going on, he didn't have a contract at the time. And I did predict that US soccer would sign him back, which
And unfortunately, they did.
they did because I knew how
Unfortunately,
dumb they
they're
are.
still just as dumb as ever.
Yep. I knew how dumb they were. My previous winner was the Glazers. Um, 2-time, make it a 2-time. The second or the first time that a person has won back-to-back Double J awards. Congratulations to the Glazer family. You somehow fumbled a full sale of a club to this point.
They went on the market when we were doing this last year.
Like incredible. Absolutely
And it
incredible.
still hasn't been approved by the Premier League board, which formality, of course, but like,
And
come on,
it's
guys.
not a full sale. It's a 25% sale. I'm
Yep.
happy with what we're doing, but goodness. How do you how? Also, yeah, my realistically is the horrible level of officiating this season is just it's bad. Okay. Gary O'Neill Award, Jace. This is a new one. We didn't have a winner for it last year because we created this award when Gary O'Neill made us look like asses last year.
Yeah, Dominic Solanke.
Hell yeah. Great
He
shout.
has great finish to the season last year with Gary. Gary gets sacked, whatever, everything goes down. Iraola comes in, and he's been absolutely flying this season. 12 goals, only Salah and Holland have more level with Son. Um, and he's winning them points week in, week out. No one really saw that coming. And he's going to get scooped up by a big club most likely in the summer because of the goals he's scoring.
Absolutely. I completely agree. My winner is David Moyes. I think, again, we talked about it last episode, how much he surprised us, how much this West Ham team have surprised us, and what they've done with selling their best player. I did not think it was going to end up like this, so I've got to give him my surprise of the year. Okay. Next award up, the Frank Lampard Award for how the hell did this guy keep his job? Last season's winner, Jace's, was Steve Cooper, and he was being nice. He was being positive, saying that he got an extension and everything. That has since turned sour, but that's not your fault. And mine was Brendan Rodgers at the time, which ended up looking great because they should
That
have
was a
sacked
great
him.
one because they waited too long. Should have sacked him right when they heard that. Um, this year I've got Rob Edwards. I think he's the obvious one. Luton just fooling around at the bottom, but they've gotten a lot better recently. And you can actually see it in the table, unlike with Burnley. And yeah, so kind of surprising he kept it. I think you could also mention Roy Hodgson maybe because things have been sour for around 2 months at Palace. But big weekend last weekend certainly helped.
Yeah, mine is also Rob Edwards. I think a lot of people assumed he was going to be the first manager sacked. I think everybody saw the beginning of Luton's time in the Premier League and thought there's no way this guy survives. And look at where he is now. I think he's got the full faith of the Luton fans behind him. I don't think there is any question right now that they are fully behind Rob Edwards. And I also have honorable mention to Roy because actually astonishing. I think everyone thought that was a short term thing. Just get us to the end of the season. We'll find a new manager. And he is still there. Impressive. Okay. People are going to forget this, so I'm going to have to refresh this award. The Alexander Zinchenko Award for Double J's Weird Obsession. Um, we had a really weird thing for Zinchenko at the beginning of last season, how good he was, how much he had changed Arsenal, how it was insane how much we talked about him. Our unanimous winner was Darwin Nunez because we talked about him like no else last year. Jace, your winner this year.
It's got to be Ainge.
Yeah, it
We probably
does.
talk about him the most.
It has to be. It has to be. The comments, the quotes after the game, the amount of times me and you have said mate this season are probably uncountable. It's Ange. He has wrecked us as a collective. I thought it wasn't going to work. Jace was all about it. Then we started to hate him because he started trash talking everybody. Just a weird obsession. It's pretty weird. We'll open up about it. But hey, congrats. You won an award from us, Ange. Mate. Okay, and then the final two awards. The GOAT Award. Jason, you still on Team Messi?
Yeah, still on Messi. I don't care how many goals Ronaldo scores in Saudi Arabia. Can we talk about that? Everyone trying to act like
Yeah,
he deserves the golden shoe. He plays in
crazy.
Asia. He doesn't play in Europe.
And you're playing against scrubs. Like let's be
Yeah,
honest here. We respect Saudi, we respect the princes, but let's be honest. Your league is a bunch of
they don't
scrubs.
have defenders.
No, no.
Like they focus on midfield and attack and mainly attack. And like it's impressive, of course, that he's still scoring all those goals at 38, 39, whatever he is. But don't try to make that equivalent with Harry Kane and Erling Haaland and these guys that are playing massive teams all the time. Like Kane's got, I don't know, like 16, 17 goals in the Bundesliga in half a year. Like I just yeah, I'm still team Messi to answer your question, but yeah, the everyone trying to anoint Ronaldo as the greatest goal scorer in Europe when he doesn't even play in Europe is insane to me.
I get it 10 times worse than you do too, because I get they said United was, or they said Ronaldo was the problem at United. And I'm like, and then show me the stats of him in the Saudi league. And I'm like, it's the Saudi league. We respect it. Al Nassr guy, shout out. But come on, let's be serious here. Let's be
Yeah.
honest with ourselves. Let's look in the
Yep.
mirror. We'd take the bag. We would commentate your games. We would run a podcast on the Saudi league. But let's be honest. My goat's Ronaldo. I've changed. It's taken me a year since the World Cup for me to become delusional again. I'll say it. I'll open up. I'm delusional. I don't care. And we are where we are. No. Messi won 3 Champions Leagues in a row? I don't think so. I don't think he did that. Nope, he didn't do that. And if I
It's the
remember correctly,
anniversary of Zidane getting hired, by the way, for the first time.
oh, look at that. Oh yeah, for the
So
first, I forgot it was
let him to those three consecutive Champions Leagues.
a 2-time thing as well. Yeah, I'm back on Team Ronaldo. No one won 3 Champions Leagues. My goat didn't choke in the Champions League when it counted every single year. I'll say that. Sure. That was a horrible
Yeah, I
goal.
saw today that he Ronaldo was at least joint top scorer for 6 straight years in the Champions League.
Just insane. The
Yeah,
fact of the
he's
matter
the go to
is,
the Champions League without a doubt.
nothing matters as long as you appreciate both of them. That's the real
Yeah,
thing
that's
here.
people's problems.
Yeah,
They're both freaking incredible, two of the best, if not the two best of all time. Like they're unbelievable. And
I,
now, they're in their retirement leagues doing their thing. Like they earned it. They earned the money they're getting now and the more relaxed atmosphere that they have now. Like,
completely agree. I you're looking at this new generation trying to do what they did. They're not getting within spitting distance. Like Holland scoring 1 billion goals. He's barely even within touching distance of what Messi and Ronaldo were doing on a yearly basis. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it's insane.
Okay. All right. That's Double J Awards. Oh, wait, no, we got one more. Sorry. The Ja Morant Memphians of the Year award, that award name aged horribly after we named that. 25 game suspension wrongfully, and a couple of Instagram lives that were fun if you were cool. They were, some would call them heinous if you aren't. The Ja Morant Memphian of the Year award for the two podcasters who continue to podcast in 2024 goes to us. Good job,
That's for
Jace.
us. Good job, Dill.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get into our team of the season in the Premier League for the halfway point. Jace may assault me during this. Warning, Jace may jump through the Zoom camera and just be in my room strangling me. If you see that, call the police. Call the police. You know who did it. All right, Jace, your goalkeeper so far, the best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season.
I have Alphonse Areola.
Oh,
Allison will be there by the end of the season. I have no doubt about that. Allison probably has been the best keeper, but he doesn't have Van Dijk, Kanate, and Trent in front of him. Whoever's playing left back, Gomez right now. Give me Areola. That's a bit of recency bias in that he was incredible against Arsenal and United, but I looked at the stats and he has the stats to back him up. He's top five in saves. The other guys below him are teams that aren't nearly as good as West Ham. Like Sheffield United keeper leads in saves, obviously, because he faces a lot of shots. But I've gone with Areola, and plus I needed to get a West Ham guy in here. So
I have managed to shove a West Ham guy in here already. So I went with Allison. My team of the season is a slight scared team of the season. I don't want to disrespect teams that can slap United around and then have to come back and eat something, which I think is fair. I'm trying to be proactive here. Guglielmo Vicario is honorable mention. I wanted to put him in. I think he's been incredible for Spurs. He's also proven me wrong, and people know that people that make me look like an idiot, I start to support. So Vicario, honorable mention. My actual one is Allison. I think he's still been a freak this year. All right, Chase, let's go right back and left back.
all right back, I got Trent. That one's pretty easy. You could go Trippier, but if you just watch the games, Trippier may have the assist numbers over Trent. Trent's making more of an impact on winning.
Mm-hmm.
And left back, I've gone with Anthony Robinson.
Ooh,
I
good
don't
shout
think
too.
there's been a serious standout left back this year. Ake hasn't been played enough left back. Arsenal are a disaster at left back. Robertson's been hurt. So I've gone with Anthony Robinson. He's got the stats to back it up. His tackles are up there. His assists are up. Recoveries, interceptions, all up. And he's probably been Fulham's second best player after Palhinha this season.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think people saying Trippier are going off pure numbers because if you watch Trippier play this season, you know there's been a drop off from the guy that was being put in team of the seasons at the end of last year.
I agree. I mean, he has the assist numbers, no doubt, but you're just watching the games. He's hasn't been as good as Trent this season.
I also think he has like the joint most errors leading to goals in the Premier League. I don't know that off. That's just off the top of my head if I remember that, but I'm almost positive. I've gone with Trent. He's been amazing this season. He's been incredible. Having Kanate and Van Dijk as the partnership the past couple weeks has made him look even freakier, which is scary because I thought he had reached like peak powers, right? And then they were like, no, 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 we're gonna put a brick right next to him again and watch this. And it's like, what the hell, dude? Chill out. And then I've gone with Destiny Udogie at left back for Spurs.
Good
I,
choice.
I agree. I agree with everything on. There's not been that many standout left backs. Udogie to me has been one of the standout left backs. I think he's just been very, very good this season. Okay, your center backs, Chase.
Saliba and Van Dijk.
Yeah,
This one's fairly easy to me. Mickey Van de Ven would definitely have had a shout if he hadn't been hurt for the last 2.5 months. But besides that, Kanate hasn't been playing long enough. Um, maybe one or two of the Villa center backs, but to me, it's Saliba and Van Dijk pretty easily.
I wanted to go with one of the Villa center backs just to be different because I also have Saliba and Van Dijk. I think they've been the best two by far. Kanate could shove himself into that debate by the end of the season. He just hasn't played enough yet. The thing is with the Villa center backs, they've rotated a lot of them. Like Pau Torres has been there, Diego Carlos has been there, and Consa. It's those three, and I don't want to pick one of those three, so I'm going to put all three of those in honorable mentions. I also don't think Villa's defense has been the main thing for them this year. I think it's been the midfield and the attack has been what most people are looking at. So, okay, have you gone with what's your formation? What are we looking at here?
Regular 4-3-3.
Okay, just go ahead with the three midfielders.
I've got Declan Rice, Phil Foden, and Douglas Luiz.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
Honorable
Um,
mention, Lucas Paqueta, for sure.
I just realized I have not shoved in a West Ham player in here. I had, and then I changed it. Crap. All right. I had to shove in a Villa player, and I'm going to. Don't kill me. Rodri, Douglas Luiz, and Phil Foden are my midfield three. No Rice. I know, I know, I know. He probably will be by the end of the year. Actually, I can probably say with most certainty he will be by the end of the year. But I had to get a Villa player in there. I couldn't figure it out with the rest of the attack. I had to put Phil Foden in there. I wanted to put Kudus. I wanted to put Paqueta. I wanted to put Declan Rice. I just Rodri's that win percentage stat is just it blows my mind. Douglas Luiz has been such a rock for Villa this year. I talk about him a lot that I had to shove a Villa player in there. That's my reasoning. If you want to make a list, go make your own. Boom. Okay. Jace didn't kill me. We're good, guys. Front three. Jace, give me your front three.
Salah, easy. Watkins, I have instead of Holland. That's just because I want to do something a little different. Um, Watkins has joint most assists and I believe double-digit goals. His goals and assists are very similar with Holland's numbers. Holland will obviously be there at the end of the season. There's no doubt about that. No disrespect to Erling. And Son, easy on the left.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out a way to shove Mohamed Kudus into my front three more than my midfield three. My midfield three I liked. I would have put probably Rice in for Douglas Luiz, if we're being completely honest, as far as who's been better this year. I just had to get a Villa player in there. I couldn't find room for Salah this year, or for Salah, for Kudus. I think Salah this season's been a freak. I think Holland, when he has played, has still been as freaky as ever. And again, I'm not going to disrespect him. So I've gone with Salah, Holland, and Son. I think that's pretty. I get it. Whatever. It's easy. It's not different. But to me, those are the three best players as a front three in the Premier League this year. I could have put Salah probably or Son through the middle and shoved Kudus in there and taken Holland out. Yeah, I'm sorry, West Ham fans. I'm sorry. You deserve better from me. But
Ollie Watkins is one thing. At least the stats are somewhat comparable. Like Kudus, I mean, Holland has clearly had a better season. Kudus just has a
yes.
massive impact on West Ham. Like, and that I'm not trying to take anything away from him. It's just, I mean, Mo Salah's leading the league in goals and assists separately. Like,
Yeah, when I figured that when I started looking at numbers and also I'd already put Salah and Holland and Son in. I went to start kind of doing more deep research into making sure I was, not doing something crazy here. And I've seen a lot of Jared Bowen at striker. I don't hate that. The one thing I would have done was put Kudus in for Foden at the number 10. Um, but Foden has like 11 goal involvements in the league this year. Um, Kudus has 6 goals, 1 assist. I think Foden has uh 5 goals and 6 assists this season. Yes, he does, which is just freaky. He's having that season, and I got to put him in there. So that's mine. That's it. Okay, Jace, run through yours one more time.
all right,
Back
in
to front.
goal, I have Alphonse Areola. Back four of Trent, Saliba, Van Dijk, and Anthony Robinson. Midfield of Declan Rice, Phil Foden, and Douglas Luiz. And front three of Mo Salah, Ali Watkins, and Son.
I like it. I like it. I've gone with run through mine one more time. Allison, Trent, Saliba, Van Dyke, and Destiny Adogi, Rodri, Douglas Luiz, and Foden. In front three of Salah, Holland, and Son. So that's our Premier League team of the season so far. If you disagree with us, make your own, tweet it out to us, and we'll say congratulations to you because everybody is entitled to their own opinion. We don't care. All right. Chase, anything else before we get into Elijah Quivey?
That's it.
All right. We'll see you guys after the break. Peace. Okay. Quick message. Quick alert to the people from Jay Smith.
Yeah, Jace's transfer corner will be back next week. As everyone knows, we're into the January window. A few deals have already gone down. Jaden Sancho to Dortmund looks like it's imminent, and a couple others. But we'll be adding a new segment, What's Going On in America, focusing on MLS, seeing what they're doing, trades, which we've never talked about because they trade,
Mm-hmm.
um, money involved in said trades, all sorts of stuff. So we'll dive into that. And then the usual around the big five leagues, see what's going on with that.
Okay. Yeah. Should we just off the cuff here? Should we name it We're Coming to America? We're coming to America.
I like it.
Okay. All right. Look at that. Creative minds just making great content for the people. Okay. Jason's Transfer Corner back next week. We're Coming to America coming next week. Get excited. Get ready. Okay. Now, Elijah Quivey. Okay, welcome back, Double J. What is a weekend preview? And we have a special guest, Elijah Quivey, on the podcast, back on the podcast. We're going to call him a cast member. We'll call it a cast member. He's going to be on with us very regularly going forward. Elijah, welcome back. We appreciate you coming on. Good to have you.
No, absolutely great to be back. A lot of talking points to be had here, and yeah, just ready to get into it.
Yeah, it has been quite the couple of months for Manchester United since we last talked. Obviously, a 2-1 loss to Forest last weekend. We were texting through the pain that was that game. As it stands right now, where do you stand on Eric Ten Hag?
So I go back and forth regularly, like probably every week with this man. And right now, and if you follow me on TikTok, everyone that follows me on TikTok, they always say trust, trust, trust. What more can I trust? Because at the end of the day, we don't have a shape of a team. We don't have team chemistry. Our captain is playing god awful, and Ten Hag on the bench looks uninterested. He doesn't show any passion. He argues with the referees, and then I don't know what is going on. I don't know where we're going, and where I stand with him is I don't know. That's the answer.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of United fans stand. That's where I was after, especially the Forest game. The substitution of McTominay for Mino was just such a tough thing to watch because I think every United fan was sitting there and was just like, "What are you doing, dude? Like, what? Why would this be a good idea in any scenario or situation?"
No,
And
100%. I mean, Kobe Mino was playing so well. winning balls. He doesn't even look tired at all. And then you want to put McTominay in, who is going to run around, open up the midfield even more, and look what happens. It
Yep.
leads to another goal because, I mean, we'll get into the game, but yeah, that substitute was just so stupid.
Incredibly dumb. And it started to make me question whether or not it's him saying, listen, I need reinforcements, whatever it may be. That he started to say in his post-game interviews that he's waiting on the injuries to come back. And I do think the injuries are a huge part of it. I think Lissandro missing, I think Casemiro missing is a huge part of it. But do you think with Ineos coming in, with the new recruitment strategy coming in, the new recruitment team coming in, do you think that may change some fortune for him?
I do, and I don't at the same time, right? Because when he first came on, there was a big amount of money that we gave him. And what did he do with it? I mean, the people that he brought in, let's think about it. Who do you bring in that has done well?
Lissandro?
I mean, yeah, but sure, yeah, absolutely. When he's healthy, he is phenomenal. But he's been out injured, which, I mean, that's another talking point I want to talk about is this injury crisis that we have going on. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes that these players are not recovering quickly enough.
Yeah. And there's
That's
a
another
rumor. I think there's a rumor that our doctor at the time said that diagnosed that his injury, because it was from last season into this year, was fine. He gets into this season and he's like, my foot is in immense pain. Like nothing has been fixed here. How does that happen as a club our size where we've got guys playing injured still?
Well, that is one thing. And also, we grabbed the Arsenal head of like whatever you want to call it, head doctor or whatever for a football club. We brought him in for like a decent amount of money for this guy, and he's here. And then this season, what is it? Luke Shaw's out injured again. Maguire's injured. Martial's out of injury. Rashford's in and out of injury. Mason Mount's been MIA. We have who? I mean, it just goes down the line. Like these guys are professionals. You're a professional trainer to make sure that these players and athletes are getting back onto the pitch, and that is hurting our squad. Like
Yeah.
it's hurting the club because
Yeah.
we don't have depth right now, and that's one of those things where I'm like, if I'm Eric Ten Hag and I'm higher up in at Manchester United, I'm on the technical director staff. I'm telling this trainer who is working the physio, they call it over in England, right? Whoever the physio is over there, like, bro, you have to understand that these players have to get back. And also, what's a question to me is when I was injured in college, I was working on myself while getting rehabbed on so I can get back on the pitch quicker. Are these players not doing that? I don't know.
Yeah. And I call him a spy because I think that's the only reasonable explanation as to what has happened with our injury crisis this year is Arsenal sent a spy into our team. And that's the only solution because otherwise it's just malpractice at that point.
Yeah.
You're just not good at your job. And I think with the spot we're in now, I still back him because I still have a belief that the systemic problems at Manchester United run for a decade plus now. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the recruit you talk about who is he signed. I think that's down to our recruitment team as much as it is down to Eric Ten Hag. But the recruitment team's been getting away with it a lot longer. So I'm gonna go after them first. With that being said, some of the decisions over the past month and a half, 2 months, 3 months have been questionable at best. Some of the people getting chances, as long as they have been questionable at best. And essentially, it's me and Jace have started to take names away from players. 39 and 21 are some of the two worst players to ever put on the jersey. And we put 80 plus million up for one of them. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. No, I saw on TikTok, and I'm very confident and comfortable saying this. Anthony is the biggest waste of $80 million ever in the world. I'm not even talking about just sports. $80 million in anything.
Yeah. Yep. It's
he is
insane.
A joke. He is an absolute joke.
Yeah. And if you look at it too, the report came out this season where the valuation of the recruitment team when Ole was in charge was 30 to 40 million. And then we go and pay double that. And you get into I've talked about that deal time in, time out. There's rumors that in July or June, if we had signed him then, we could have signed him for 40 million. We wait, get to and that's typical United over the last 10 to 15 years is get deals
Yep.
done
Last
late.
minute. Yep. I mean,
And
we can talk on and on about that. I want to know your opinion. Who do you want out and who do you want in for the transfer window?
it's pretty simple. I want to keep like 4 guys. So right
I mean,
now, I said it on Tuesday. There's a future I can see. Kabi Mino, Garnacho, Hoyland, Lissandro. The rest of them are essentially, to me, if you give us the right price, sell them.
yeah, I'm not too hesitant on agreeing with you there. I think I it's just funny. Like we need to clear house with our back staff as well. Like just people in that general. Like it's just so bad. But on the field, I think from our starting 11s, I would have to agree. I think it's those need to stay. And dude, I can't let go of Rashford. I know he's been so bad, but for me, he is like the last straw of an academy player. And one thing that really is sad is this football club used to be solely based on the academy players coming up. We don't even have that anymore. We're getting guys from all over the world to come play, and we're not doing anything. And it's one of those things where I'm like, let's just go after the youth. There are
Yeah.
some Manchester United ballers in the academy right now.
Yeah, there are. And I think Mino coming through may have opened his eyes. That was a big talking point for me last season was that we're not in these meaningless games. He would start like the main 11, right? And it was like, dude, it's the Carabao Cup, like second round. Play the kids. They're going to win the game. That was a big talking point for me. Hopefully Mino has opened his eyes a little bit. Asking Ten Hag to open his eyes does seem like a bit of a problem. That he may not be able to get past. But it's genuinely right now, I'm saying put your faith in the kids and past that point. Rashford, I'll agree with a little bit. I think this season has been a lot more about how he's feeling versus, and he's a big emotion player to me. He plays on emotion. If he's happy, his play is going to be even better. This season, he hasn't been happy. I think the Sancho thing has actually oddly affected him because him and Jaden were so close. Should that affect you as a professional player that much? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's not a whole lot. It's easier to say the guys I would want to keep than the guys I would want sold.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It's going to be very interesting to see what the club does in the January transfer window. I don't have any expectations as well. And I mean, that's where I stand. The club, the whole rest of the year, I have no expectations. And I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to get my hopes down for anything. I'm just going to go week by week as I'm doing, and we'll see what the hell happens. But
That's kind
yeah,
of where I am. That's where I am. It's because I see, listen, I buy in. I say that now. I'm gonna be fully bought in next game. But I buy in after the games like the Villa game. And then I remember, well, we did this against Newcastle under Mourinho when his job was on the line. We've done this before time and time again with plenty of managers. So is that really a game where I can go, look, they've got a little bit about them? No, because you go and lose to Forest, and everyone and their mother could have predicted we're losing to Forest. I mean, away from home, tough game, a team with a new manager, like it's easy. So it's just right now, it's a week by week thing for me. I'm more excited about what Ineos is going to bring in. Hopefully, there is something in the form of change as to how we buy players. Because right now, you can go down, we've done it before. You can go down the list of people we signed over the last 10 years, and it's terrible, horrible.
yeah. I mean, I think the best player that we've signed in the past 10 years, generally speaking, in the last 10 years, I think is bringing in Zlatan.
Yeah. And it was a 1 year thing.
Yeah. Or even bring Cristiano back. And that still blows my mind that people were saying that he was the issue. No, he was not the issue. He led the team in goals the whole calendar year, bro. Like, what?
I think there was a big split in the Ronaldo thing with United fans where it was like he's not the problem, but what he did with the interview and all that stuff, you can't have a United player go out and do interviews and essentially bash the
No,
entirety of the club.
yeah, absolutely. But also the truth hurts. I mean, like Cristiano wouldn't go and say false things to Piers Morgan. Like he was speaking facts. And it shows, obviously, that like we probably have stuff at Carrington that's 15, 20, 30 years old that hasn't been updated. And that's another thing. That is where it starts, is from the fucking ground up. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you have to have new stuff. Look at Tottenham. Look at I'm trying to like
Dude,
Newcastle has nice things. Like I'm like all these clubs that are like slowly catching up to Manchester United is because they have money in the club and they implement it in the right areas, in which we're not doing.
And Leicester, when they were doing, I don't know if you remember this, Leicester, when they were doing their big top four push under Brendan Rodgers before it all fell apart last year, used the 80 million on Harry Maguire to build a new training facility, world class training
Yeah,
facility.
Leicester's just nuts.
And it is unbelievable the way I think that's the part of the interview that a lot of people didn't get. They took the stuff he said about Ten Hag, which is what it is. But what he was really talking about was how the standard of the entire place had dropped, and you could visibly see it, like through the training stuff, the training ground to, I mean, it came out what 2 weeks ago that we were serving raw chicken at Carrington. Like, how is that a thing? How is that a thing? So it actually is mind boggling that we've gotten to a point we're at where I can, and it's like the fifth time I've been able to say, and I'm sure you have too, I can count people I'd rather stay or count people I'd rather stay than rather sell. Yes. Like that's wild. I've been able to go through three
Yeah,
managers and say that.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, the Forest game. I mean, obviously we're going back and forth. Um, I think I actually said it on my. I had a good TikTok video actually, and it got banned. I don't know. I got my creator fund, and TikTok started messing with me. It's terrible, like
Classic.
literally terrible. But anyways, yeah, I think. I mean, dude, it's just so sad. I also think the past like 3-5 years, when we play a team that has pacey wingers and forwards, we always lose.
Away, and we went through that like away from home undefeated stretch under Ole
Yeah,
when there were no fans. Ever since fans came back in away games, we just suck. We
yeah,
fold. We don't want to be there. It seems like the players play off Old Trafford, which is falling apart too. I can tell you from being there. It's just not good. It's not good right now. But Jaden Sancho, should we move on to that? Today has been or the past couple of days, is announcing that he is going to go to Borussia Dortmund on loan. It's looking like he'll be back in the summer. What are your stances on his current position?
Well, before I get into Jaden, I also want to say this on air, and I've said it in multiple TikTok videos. Bruno Fernandez is the biggest bitch I've ever seen play the game of football right now. How how do you wear the armband and you become all of a sudden so bad? I mind you, actually, when he changed from 18 to 8, he became a completely different player, and that's something that no one talks about. But also, all he does is hack and foul people and bitch at the referees. And lately he's been doing that, and it's been really, really making me mad. Anyways, Jane Sancho, my stance, I want to see him go play well at Borussia Dortmund, but I want it to be a loan to buy. So I don't want him coming back. I want him to go on loan and just get out fully, and hopefully we can get like a couple pennies for him or something. I don't know.
I'm kind of in that point too, where it's like, okay, you've had your moment to apologize. Like the club has made it very clear, the manager's made it very clear. You have to do one little thing to get back in, and that's say, I'm sorry. And if you're too big to do that, if that's too much of a task for you, then maybe we should just part ways. I don't think
Yeah, it's been months,
yeah. And
months.
it's like we see you out in New York, we see you out at these birthday parties, and I get live your life, do your thing. But at some point, it's like we're paying you how much money? You're the highest paid player at this club, and or one of them. And we're seeing you not perform. And it's not like this is new either, I don't think. It's a thing that's been happening because I think there's been a lot of revisionism around him where it's like if we had Sancho back, we'd be playing great. It's like, no, we wouldn't. No, we
No, not at
wouldn't.
all. Not at all.
Like,
Because granted, I mean, when he came in, there was a lot of the hype around him. He was going to do this, this. I think the only shining moment he had at United was the Manchester Derby when he scored at the Etihad.
yeah,
That was probably the only thing. I mean, he's been a waste, man. Like, he's very on the same wavelength for me as Anthony. Like, I mean, both of them had flair, had charisma, had swag. They come here, they can't beat a defender. They pass the ball backwards. They jog around the pitch.
dude.
It's one of those things. Sancho, I just yeah, he needs to go.
You're preaching to the choir here because there's like I think I don't know if you saw this on Twitter or on TikTok too. Like, who are your least favorite types of players right now? And it's literally
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
players that can't beat a man. Wingers that
yeah.
can't beat a defender might be in the Premier League specifically are the most frustrating things. I mean, it happened this weekend with Anthony at Forest. I talked about it on the Tuesday podcast. He's running at a guy. He turns back around, and then the ball just goes out of play because he has no idea what to do with his back to goal. And it's like, dude, oh my gosh, what are you
Yeah.
doing? So it's just a spot we're in. I would imagine he ends up permanently at Dortmund. I think this is smart from the club in one sense that get his value up. If he starts playing well there, they're going to start to want him and other teams are going to start to want him. But I can't see his future back at Manchester United. I don't even see his future in the Premier League, to be honest with you. I can see him going to France, going to Italy, or going to back to Dortmund.
Yeah, I mean, he was so good at Dortmund too. Like, I mean, he was honestly world class at Dortmund before he came over. He was playing really well for England, and then man, just dropped off hard. It's sad. It's honestly sad. Like,
Yeah.
very sad. I just, yeah, I mean, for him as a person, I just want him to go play and be happy. So that's where I stand. And then, yeah, what else?
I'm trying.
What else
I
should
want to
we?
get on. I want to get on your Bruno take just a second because you kind of dropped that and let it go. We have a minute. We have a menace list going on this podcast of the biggest menaces in the Premier League, and Bruno Fernandes is solidly number 3. He is.
Yeah, it has to be.
He is
He
just an
has to be.
insane person. I mean, it is. I get wanting to argue with the official. I get being the captain and being able to do whatever. The whining and the moaning when we're down or losing or something like that is the most infuriating thing to watch as a fan because you're sitting there watching, you're like, shut the fuck up. Like, please shut up. It is
Well,
too much.
it's one of those, but it's also like I get secondhand embarrassment watching him argue with the referee. Like, dude, you played growing up, I played growing up. Like, you always had that one kid on your team that wasn't like he was good and talented, but he loved to just mess with the referee and like talk shit to other players and get in other players' heads. But while you're doing all that, you're also messing with your own game. And
Mhm.
he's been doing that the past, I mean, I don't even past 10 games at least.
Yeah. Funnily enough, you're talking to that kid. The amount of times I would go up to a ref, tell him why he got it wrong, read the rule book to him, the amount of times I would talk trash to other people, it was bad. I didn't like myself. It was soccer on the field. Dylan was a completely guy than off the field, Dylan. But I also wasn't playing for Manchester United. I wasn't getting paid 6 figures a week. I didn't have the captain's armband. So it's like there are standards that need to be set where it's like that's what you need to be. You have to be a captain. You don't have to be, you can't be this whining, moaning guy anymore. I also read a stat today. He's given the ball away the most out of any player in the Premier League. It's crazy.
Yeah, but then he's also created like the most chances in the 18-yard box next to who I don't even know who else it was.
Ozil,
James Madison
it was
or
Ozil. He's about to break the calendar year record of chances created in the Premier League. It's like, what are you? Like, what are you? I
yeah.
have stats to back you up, and then there are stats that are just damning to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, going to the Mason Greenwood take. If you don't follow me on TikTok, you can follow me. It's where I had a pretty viral video a couple weeks ago. Yeah, basically I stated, and I don't think I should have. I didn't have to like open up and say that he's a great person or a bad person, but I got a lot of backlash from this in my DMs, like crazy. But I basically said Mason Greenwood needs to come back to United and he needs to play and he needs to start and he needs to come back and be a vital player in our team and squad. And I want Old Trafford to embrace him again, which everyone from my TikTok agrees that they will, and he needs to come back. But I stand on that fully because this guy's been out of football for 3 years. What? Like 2.5, 3 years. Who knows if he's been training? Who knows if he's been working out? He goes over to La Liga. He's scoring penalties with his right foot. He is left-footed. He's destroying the top teams over in Spain and La Liga, and he's just doing it all. Like he looks phenomenal. He's beating players. He's getting assists. He's scoring with his left foot, a crazy curler, and he has more positive numbers than all of our wingers and forwards combined this year. And I don't think I'm crazy for saying that, but
You're absolutely not. You're not.
A lot of people. This lady went crazy in my Instagram DMs and was like, not a death threat, but she was like, you should go look at yourself in the mirror. Like, you have no idea what he did. Like, this long, like, I'll show you right now so you can see. But that's my stance.
It's a coin flip with him among United fans. And it's weird for me right now because when it happened and when we announced he was coming back at the beginning of the summer, and then we almost did like a fan thing of like the fans came out and they were like, we shouldn't do. Oh my gosh, that is lengthy. That is very lengthy. Good
yeah.
Lord. See, and then people
Yeah.
take it like way too far in situations like that where it's like, dude, he's just voicing his opinion. Like, there's no
Literally,
need. Like he's
like
just living his
literally.
life. You saw a TikTok and you decided to lose your mind. Um, with me, when teams like Barcelona, Bayern, Real Madrid start getting connected with him and they're like, we'll take him. It's weird for me because it's like, okay, wait, if they can have him, but then we're all of a sudden the bad guys. If we take him back, how does that logic and morality work?
Well, it's also I feel like it's one of those things with English media, right? So, I mean, as you know, being a massive football fan, English media is the craziest media in the world. I mean, they and especially for football, they're the celebrities. As over here in America, we have actual celebrities that are celebrities.
Right.
So, um, you know, every single little move over there is caught on camera. It's caught in the media. I think, dude, like, and also one thing about Manchester United, we're the most talked about club in the world, no matter what.
Yes. Get
So
clicks
it becomes
everywhere.
if he comes back, I mean, what is it? What is it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
We get there's an extra story for them to write on headline pieces, which would have been written anyway about Manchester United.
I mean, if we let him go, we're gonna get backlash. Manchester United let go of Mason Greenwood, who beat up his girlfriend 3 years ago. That's gonna be the post. Like,
Yeah,
if we take him back, it's gonna be the exact opposite. Mason Greenwood brings back Manchester United player who beat up his girlfriend 3 years ago. Like,
right. And no one is advocating for what he did. That's also the thing. And you weren't either. It was just we have a talent on our hands. We should bring him back. And I think that's it's a very good way of looking at the at what he is. I do think it's very complex. Where to me, it's like I saw the stuff, I listened to the stuff, I loved the kid when he was playing and before it, and it just left a sour taste in my mouth. But I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, whatever happens is going to happen because he's either if he's not at United, he's going to go to some big other club. So why should we be the ones that get punished? It's a weird spot. It's a weird spot. So I kind of did agree with what you were saying, but at the same time, I could see the responses where it was well not that response but you know what I'm saying the response was like
yeah,
I don't know we should just move on, not the hey you should look at yourself in the mirror response. That's just crazy.
yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is weird. Like, if we let him go, because like we're getting punished, but we did nothing wrong. Um, and then like he's escaping his boyhood club and the club that he came up with, and yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of those things that's just like it's crazy. But no, I mean, if he comes back, dude, I mean,
Immediately
he are
starts.
he already looks like he's out to kill. Like, dude,
Yeah.
this guy is insane.
Yeah, he's
He's
in the
insane.
Liga. Like I remember, I think it really popped on my radar when he hit the penalty with his right foot. I saw him doing that again because he used to do that in the academy, and you should just
Yeah,
crap on keepers because all the keepers were looking at their coach and they're like, "What the? You told me this guy was left-footed and he's winding up with his right. What is about to happen here?" And then after the Atletico Madrid game, Griezmann came
yeah,
out and someone else came out and they're like, "This dude we couldn't touch." And I'm like,
yeah.
all right,
Also,
I don't know. I don't know
also,
about
in
this.
the Sevilla game, Ramos came out and was like, he was like Mason Greenwood is one of the best players in the league right now. Like he can do everything still, and I think he touched on like his both feet like is incredible. And one thing about his game is like it's so elegant. He doesn't try. He keeps it very simple. He doesn't try crazy moves. He's almost a pass first winger, which is great. Makes smart runs, and he can finish both feet. And I think when he was coming up, I think like Rashford and Harry Kane said that he's the craziest finisher they've ever seen. Like,
He is. Him
yeah,
I haven't seen a kid come out of the United Academy that could finish with both feet in the corner, top, bottom, through the keeper's legs. And it's instinctive. It is
yeah,
he's worked on it so much now to where it's literally his finishing is the best, would be the best at the club right now.
yeah. No, 1,000%. So yeah, I mean, I think we should bring him back, and I think the club should seriously look at it. Um, I think you know whatever happened with the actual circumstance, whatever it is, what it is. It's not public. I did do a ton of research, and I can't even find anything in the Manchester news that said nothing was confirmed. He wasn't guilty. I mean, like,
Yeah, the her his like now wife and mother to his
yeah,
child.
that's another thing.
It's the weirdest story ever, dude. It's the weirdest story ever. It doesn't make
Like I
sense.
like I don't know if she just wanted clout for a little bit, but then like you're not gonna do that and then end up having a kid with that person and then ended up getting engaged and married with them. Like it's just one of those things where like the world is fake in my eyes. So it's like one of those things where you're like, oh, you know.
And it was Instagram posts that then ended up in court. Then a year and a half later, everything's taken away and they're married and have a kid now. And I was sitting there, I was like, I do not know. Like whatever happens with them, with me at this point. I don't think we're getting into a point where we're going to punish a team because they get clicks versus he goes to Barcelona and the Spanish media are going to be like, they get a world-class talent. It's like, how does that work? How does that logically work?
Yeah.
So
No, I agree.
I'm just at a point now where it's kind of with him. Yeah, he's a great talent. I would, if he
I think
came back to United, he would start right now, every game.
I
That's a
and
fact.
I think yeah, absolutely. And I think the one thing that like for me and you, like our age demographic, we were so tapped in with him at the academy days that when he broke through to the first team and he was actually scoring and like positive and he had some crazy knee slides like for celebrations. Like he brought joy to me that
Yeah.
and this is me being like a United lover, but like he brought joy to the game for me again. Like watching United like bring like score amazing goals and like have a bunch of passion. And that's one thing that our players in our club, besides Garnacho, don't have. Right?
Dude, the
No one has that
lack
right
of
now.
effort right now is in, and me and Jace talk about it a lot, and I say these guys don't want to go out there and do their jobs. Like
No.
at the end of the day, it's employment. You're getting paid a lot of money to do a certain thing, and you guys aren't living up to it. So at some point, you have to look at the whole squad and say, none of you are up to it right now, or very few of you are up to it. And until we get to that point, we're going to have to start looking for replacements. And if we have a
Yeah, and
replacement that's on loan, we're going to bring him back. The problem is when he comes with that baggage, I get it, whatever. But I think Ineos are gonna make a little bit of a statement on him. And I think that's gonna be a statement move for them of what they do with him.
yeah, and I hope. I mean, we need it. Yeah, I was gonna make a TikTok about this. The United squad right now reminds me of my sophomore year college soccer team, and I remember we lost like 3 games in a row. We looked like shit. Everyone's training bad, and my coach, we like had an off weekend, and my coach was like, literally after training one day, was like, "You guys all need to go get drunk together,
Yeah.
like for
Yep.
morale, like go, like literally go have a party."
Yeah.
And like I'm not playing. We had like 2 parties that weekend. We all got drunk. We all hung out together. Like it just added something. And then we ended up going 11 games unbeaten. Number 2 seed in our conference tournament. We ended up losing in the semifinal to go to the final. But like something like that, I don't know. I mean, I even say it on my TikToks. Like I don't even know if these guys are friends off the like outside of football.
They're not. I've had a theory about the United dressing room since we signed the Pogba Ibra summer that it's been clicky. You have your Spanish clique, you have your English clique, and then you have the rest of the guys. And it's not a team. It's just a grouping of players that we've signed from through different managers with big money on their name, and they've got their friends in the team. And not everybody has to be friends, but you have to be able to work together. It's the same way as in a job. Like if you're the secretary doesn't like you at your job, you're going to have issues. And if you don't like the secretary, that's going to be a problem. You've got to be able to at least be able to work together. These guys right now can't work together. They can't.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that year of like Ibra, Jay Lings, Rashford, Pogba. I mean, Eric Bailly, like yeah, I mean, you could tell they all like love playing with each other and like help each other out on the field. I mean, it makes a difference. But
It does.
yeah, yeah, I don't know.
And
United is very interesting at the moment.
we had the same thing like we talked about earlier. You know, you were talking about you always have that one kid that's yelling at the ref and yelling at everybody, which was me, and arguing with other teams and talking shit. But when when it got down to it, we as a team were all one there. Even like high school club soccer, we all played together. we were all one, and all of them just knew, okay, Dylan's going off on his freaking tangent here on the referee reading him the rule book. Let's keep moving on. This is a normal thing. We're going to keep on working. It wasn't like anything was being affected or we weren't friends or we weren't even like able to play together. It was always, we're going to be able to play together because we played together for so long. We know each other. And at the end of the day, we all want to win. It doesn't feel like these guys want to win. It feels like they just want to go out
Yeah.
there, pick up the check, and move on to the next week.
Yeah, the only player that wants to win, maybe two actually, is obviously Garnacho. I mean, this guy's putting his everything on the line. Full 90, 110 minutes, doesn't even matter. This guy's crack right now for us. But I also think redemption arc, Harry Maguire wants to win.
Hell yes. I've loved redemption arc Harry Maguire. Loved him.
Yeah, I mean it sucks he got hurt because he was actually in form. He was balling out.
Dude,
Like,
to player
he
of the
actually
month,
was.
Premier League
Yeah.
player of the month. And it was like, I was looking at that and I was like, what dimension have I jumped into? Like, where have I gone where I'm seeing Eric Ten Hag with the manager of the month, Garnacho with the goal of the month, and Maguire with the player of the month, and we are dog shit. Like, this is crazy. This is insane.
We won like one game that month and they handed us all the trophies. Like,
Yeah, and you knew what was coming next. I was sitting there and I was like, we all know December is gonna suck after this. Like this was too nice, this was too gracious. And I got lucky. I went to the Chelsea game, incredible, got the win, and then I knew from that point on, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be rough.
well, yeah, how crazy was that though?
Dude, it was awesome. It was incredible. I would highly suggest it. The getting into the games is a lot easier than it used to be. Getting tickets, I should say, is a lot easier than it used to be. I remember when I think I went, that's my third game inside Old Trafford. The last Chelsea game was like pulling teeth. Like we had to get some guy's season ticket pass that he handed to us, and then one of his relatives walked down and picked it up from it. It was weird. Nowadays it's pretty easy. The stadium itself is still like I talk about how it's falling down, the urinals are overflowing, we're serving raw chicken, which are all true facts. But when you see the stadium, it's like that the TikToks of like what is that sound where they're
I know
looking at, you know
yeah,
what I'm talking
yeah.
about. They're
Yeah.
looking at something, you're just looking at it in awe, and you're like, I can't believe I'm here. I always cry when I go, openly cry, and I made it the full game this time. Usually I cry walking in because like you open up and you're just like, oh my gosh. And
Dude, yeah. I mean, I can't wait for that day, but
I was sitting there at 90 minutes and I was like, let's go. We're gonna get a win. You didn't cry in front of all these people. And then the players start coming around after the game, and Harry Maguire starts applauding the fans and doing all that, and I lose it. And I'm like, dude, Harry Maguire's the reason. Like, this is where you start crying. And it was the funniest thing ever because I was sitting there. I was like, if you had told me this 6 months ago that Harry Maguire is going to have me on the verge of tears, I would have called you a madman. His renaissance has been incredible. I can't wait for him to get back. I've been saying for a long time, I want to see him and Lissandro play together because I think that could be a good partnership. If I don't know what's going on with Varane, I don't know what's going on with half this team at this moment in time. To be honest with you, it's too much.
no, yeah. Varane's finished. I think he's gonna go back to Madrid.
That's
That's
crazy.
that's one thing. Yeah, I because they're at a center back crisis,
Yeah, they are. And the thing is
and
now it's like, do we sell him? Because the past couple weeks have looked okay, and then but there was beef before that. He looked like crap before that. I just don't know. I don't know.
yeah, Ancelotti came out this week and he publicly said that they're not bringing in a center back because they have Camavinga, Carvajal, Nacho that can all play center back.
Dude, I watched him this week. Chouamini was playing at center back for him.
Or
I'm like,
also that I'm not even like I all due respect to all the amazing Real Madrid players. This is the craziest football team I've ever seen.
dude, they're crazy. They're crazy. Their
And
midfield,
they're all like 21, 22.
they're me and Jace's dad, who's going to be listening to this, huge Real Madrid fan, like massive. And I've been telling Jace, this little midfield that they've been building to take over for Casemiro, Modric, and Cruz is arguably has the potential to be better than Casemiro, Modric, and Cruz.
No, I mean absolutely. And they're already world class. Like it took those three for I mean years to become like world class players. And these young guys that are in that midfield, Vinny, whoever else is playing up top, like already have something that is just like it's like dripping world class.
Yeah, I think it's the Camavinga, Chouamini, Vinny. I'm trying to think. Rodrigo.
Rodrigo,
Like they're
yeah,
all just ballers. Like at the end of the
and they're
day,
all. I think
ballers.
Vinny's the oldest. He's like 23. He's like the
Dude,
oldest one. Like it's
yeah.
crazy.
And they keep picking these other kids. Like Indrick is about to go over there. He looks like a freak. Just
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, and Federico Valverde, like he's
Fetty.
crazy.
Oh, I love Fetty. I'm a huge Fetty guy. Because they play him right back, right wing, central midfield. And it's just like, yeah, that's a solid 9 out of 10 every time. It's like, where do I get that? Where does United get some of that?
Nah, they're special. I think the Galacticos, like they're always. I mean, obviously, absolutely iconic to the game. But like these guys are the new generation like the Galacticos, like to another level. I think like
I think they're about to overtake Barca in a way that me and you, our dads probably would have seen it when Barca wasn't as good in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s before they won the Champions League. I think there's a dangerous point where Real Madrid are getting to that point where it's like, holy
yeah,
hell.
yeah. I mean, they're gonna win another 10 Champions Leagues. I think.
Yeah, they
Like,
are.
and that's crazy to say. Like
That's an
that's
insane thing to
ridiculous
say.
to say.
You could say it with like absolute certainty too, where you're like, yeah, the group they have coming in could easily win them close to double-digit Champions Leagues, or at the bare minimum, Chouamini and Camavinga and Rodrigo and Vinny. I think Rodrigo maybe less so than the other guys. Stay at Real Madrid. Their trophy count at the end of their careers is going to be just disturbing. It's going to be disturbing.
Yeah, and then I also think I had some weird gut feeling that somehow, some way, FIFA, Real Madrid are gonna pull strings and they're gonna land Mbappe this summer.
Dude. Dude, don't speak that into existence because then we have a super team on our hands. Because I'm really what I've said for a while is Perez's dream is to get Holland and Mbappe on the same team.
PSG's been finished, bro. They're not doing anything.
They're not going to. He's
They're
very clearly done there.
I mean, they're almost as finished as United, bro. Like that team, that club is a mess.
And they're relying on a kid in Zaire Emery. They talk about the same way we talk about Garnacho, where we're like, at least we got him. And it's like, dude, trust me, not a spot you want to be in. Let me be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
I appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you having you. Anything you want to
bro.
get off
As
your
all,
chest before you get out of here? I think you got a lot off your
um,
chest here.
yeah, got a lot for sure. Let me see. Who do we play this weekend?
We
Play
play Wigan in
Spurs.
we play Wigan in the FA Cup, and then we play Spurs the next. Yeah, Spurs is going to be interesting because if he loses to if he goes 0-2 against Ange, the talk is about to get real loud. I think.
Well, another thing with me, the last thing to get off my chest is like I just don't understand how he can keep losing.
Oh yeah, it's not. We don't draw. We either win or we lose. It's
Yeah, like
horrible.
I mean, it's one thing to have a vision and like the board trusts you and the board backs you, but there's also got to be people on the board that are going and traveling these matches and are sitting in boxes at Old Trafford next to the greatest manager of all time, in my opinion, Sir Alex, and the final whistle blows and we keep losing games. Like he has to be on somewhat of a hot seat. That's
And,
where I'm like
yeah.
confused. I'm like I don't know I don't know,
And how many goals have we conceded to cutbacks this year? Like,
bro,
dude,
bro.
like marking your runners. That's just effort. That's not like you have to have a brain, like a symbol, like one brain cell, and then a little bit of effort, and you can mark your runner into the box. We've conceded like 30 goals this season to runners in the box.
I mean, we can't even just talk about the Villa goals. Like, how
Dude,
is he on the back post to head it freely
you
to another guy that's inside the 6 yard box?
the second goal where we had five guys on the line and Dendonker's wide open 5 feet in front of them just flicks it in. I thought I was going to break my TV. I was sitting there. I was like, there is no way you can defend like this. You just can't. So, also one last thing. Have you watched the David Beckham documentary?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. I was about to say that Galactico portion while you were talking about that made me think about it. That Galactico
Yeah,
episode they had was crazy. I love that documentary. I might actually go back and watch it tonight now that we're talking about it.
it's probably the best. It's better than the Jordan documentary in my eyes, and that's crazy to say. I
For me,
also
it is
wanted them
too.
to. I wanted them to elaborate on more stuff though, because they were not super elaborative on some stuff. Like I wanted to see him go to LA. I wanted to see him go back to PSG, AC Milan. Like they didn't show that part.
Dude, they kind of dogged They dogged America and then never said anything about it after that. They were like, the conditions were crap and the place was crap. And then I went to Milan. I was like, what the hell does that? Whoa. Like, I mean, it
Yeah.
was, but like, don't have to say that.
No, David Beckham's goated.
Goated fashion icon and also Manchester United icon. When we
Yeah.
were growing up, I don't know about you. When I was growing up, he was the guy. He was what got me into United. I literally pointed at TV and said, who's the blonde guy? He looks cool.
No, yeah, I had every haircut he had, I would have.
That is incredible. That is
Yeah,
incredible.
that's I was addicted. Yeah, I mean, I had all of his jerseys. I had a jersey at LA Galaxy. I had it at United, obviously. I got it at PSG. Got it. Yeah, I love Bex. I
Dude,
mean,
I
he's
have the 1999 Retro Bex jersey in the mail. It's coming, and I
so fire.
cannot wait. I cannot wait to wear it.
Wait,
Oh,
how old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay, yeah, that 99 is the year I was born. That's
Okay,
crazy.
yeah. So you were right there, my dude. Crazy story. I'm gonna air this. I hope my uncle doesn't get embarrassed. My uncle. So my whole family, my half my family was British. We talked about this last time. My uncle for the '99 Champions League final, he had he had season tickets forever. The 99 finals in Barcelona, he goes to his job, says, I need to take work off. They say, if you are taking work off for this game, like you cannot do that. And he was like, well, I am. And they said, if you go to this game, we're going to fire you. And he said, you better find someone else to get into my job because I'm going to Barcelona. Quit his job, went to Barcelona, wins the treble. Greatest decision of his life.
I would have done the exact same thing. No hesitation.
Exactly. No hesitation. Just ready to go.
I mean, actually, if United were in those shoes and the match was over in Europe, I'm not even telling work. I'm just
Yeah.
leaving.
Yeah. Like out of office. Out of office.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Elijah's not here
Not
today. Where is he?
no,
Don't
like
worry
I'm.
about it. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, absolutely,
All right, brother.
absolutely.
Thank you for coming on. We're gonna have Elijah's gonna be on a lot, talking United, getting all this off his chest. He needs some therapy sessions, very clearly, and this is his therapy sessions for us.
Yeah,
So we will have him back
yeah.
on all the time. We appreciate it, brother.
All right, Dylan. Take it easy.
Take it easy. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.